Okie doke. We're gonna go to page 115. And you're already there. Wait. Talking about the adverb clause, and we know what those are because we've been marking those, haven't we? Adverb clauses? Or, yeah, that's what I thought. What's the www.a word? Oh, okay.
There we go.
But we know those. You know what those are, right? The adverb clause. Okay, so we know what that. It just means it's a group of words that begins with a www word and contains a subject and a verb. An adverb clause is a dependent clause, which means it must be added to a sentence that is already complete. Without looking, do you remember what those words are for the Asia?
When, while, where, as, it,
Since.
if,
Uh-huh.
also.
Yes, good. You got it. And because.
Oh.
Yeah, dot B. In our writing, we don't use the because part of that, but here we do. So very good though. And then there's extra words that are not part of the acronym Asia. If you jump down to where it says after, before, until, unless, whenever, whereas, and than, those are also part of an adverb clause. And those you just have to memorize. They didn't come up with a fun way to memorize those. So you have to just go back to this page to check that. In fact, do you have a Post-it in your bag? Okay. That's okay. Maybe later you can mark it if you guys have a Post-it at home. Mark this as the adverb clause page because there's a little extra words on here. You're still going to mark it with a parentheses and AC, like the example in the middle of the page where it says the stranger would cross unless Robin stopped him. So it's going to be a little bit trickier to find them because they're not part of Asia. So you're still going to use parentheses and then AC for adverb clause. And then on the second half of the page, you're going to see adverb clause or prepositional phrase. Those words are in the same lists. So that first set of words where it says these words usually begin an adverb clause, they made the bold ones are the Asia words. You already know those. Except for they didn't do the W's in bold. I don't know why, because they're there. But you have extra words like if, although. Oh, wait. Oh, I know what they did. I forgot. Okay, so the bold ones are in both lists. That's what they did. So all of those are part of adverb clause, but notice you have the second group of words is the prepositional phrases. That begins a prepositional phrase. So after and after on the same list. That's why they did it. Before and before are on both lists, and then until and until are on both, as, since, and because. And notice in the prepositional list, it says because of. We've talked about that before. So in your dress ups, you have because clause. That's basically telling why something is the way it is, but you don't use of after that. And sometimes I put notes in everybody's papers if they accidentally use of, because it changes it to a prepositional phrase. So there's a difference. Using a clause is just because blank, but if it's a prepositional phrase, you use because of. So this is a good list to look at. You have both lists there and you can see how they're in the same. So that means you have to really pay attention to how it's used to see if it's an adverb clause or a prepositional phrase. So when you look down at the bottom, there's two examples. The first one that says adverb clause. Before they met, Robin won every fight. So before they met is an adverb clause, and here's the pattern, www.asia.b word, and the B, well, it's not the B because B is because. This is before, and that's a new adverb now that we know. So that's going to be the pattern, before plus, and then the subject is they and verb is met. That's the thing about clauses. I know I've talked about this before. So they all have subject verb pairs. Okay. Prepositional phrase is before the fight. Robin was undefeated. That's a prepositional phrase before plus a noun, and there's no verb, even though fight can be a verb, but they're calling it the fight. So because it has the there, fight is a noun. It's a thing. So that's why that's a prepositional phrase. So they just want you to see the difference between the both. You have any questions about that page at all? Okay. Let's go on to the practice page and go ahead and read that.
After an hour, neither had budged an inch. Both stood where they had begun.
Good, okay. Yeah, it's a little, we're missing a punctuation, a period in there, but budged is the vocabulary word. Do you know what budged means?
Like, not moving.
Yeah, so not budged would be not moving, but budged, neither had budged, so they didn't move. You're right. It's when you move so slightly, very small. So that's a verb, actually, just so you know. And then go ahead and find the two articles. And then how about the two nouns?
Hour
Hour is one, yes,
and inch.
and inch. And that's it. Those two, hour and inch. Pronouns?
They,
Yep.
both,
Both is a pronoun. Very good.
neither,
Yes, and neither. Uh-huh. Good. That can be pronounced neither, neither. It's either way. Either. Okay, do you see the prepositional phrase yet, or you want to come back to that one?
is it after an hour?
It is after an hour, so it's gonna start with that. Good. And then the adverb clause?
Neither had budged an inch.
No, because neither is a pronoun, so it's gotta start with an preposition. I'm sorry, let me back up. It's gotta start with an adverb, so think of the Asia words.
Oh, after an hour.
No, that's the preposition. Think of when, while, where.
Oh, where they began.
There it is, yeah, where they had begun. And if you get stuck on that later, if it's not one of the Asia words, go back to that list and then you'll see. So that's AC. And then we've got two main clauses, and I will tell you that the main clauses do not include the prepositional opener.
Neither had budged an inch.
Yes, that's one.
And both stood where they had began.
Just both stood. Yep, both stood, because that's going to be a subject verb. That's tricky. I always get stuck on those because sometimes it's easier to find the subject verb pairs first and then the main clauses. But since there's two main clauses in a row right there, you're going to put a period between those two. And then the verbs. Where are the verbs at?
Budge,
Mm-hmm.
stood,
Mm-hmm.
had,
Mm-hmm.
oh wait, and begun.
And begun. Yep. There's a lot more than three. There's one, two. Got one more to find. Had again, yeah. So the verbs are had budged and then had begun
and stood.
and stood. Yes. Okay, subjects?
Neither,
Mm-hmm, good.
both,
And both. Good, neither and both. And actually within the adverb
they.
clause, and they. Yep, you got it. Very good. And then the openers.
I think it's the prepositional opener,
Mhm.
which is two.
Yes, which is two. And then the next one.
Subject.
Yes, which is
One.
good. Okay, that list is done. Indent, that's easy. That's going to be at the beginning of right at after. And then,
I think we removed this comma.
yes, we don't need it right next to the period. And then you got capitals. And we already put one period in between, and then we need one at the end. And I think that's it. We got it, right? Cool. That's pretty easy. Yeah, so sometimes because I struggle with those main clauses sometimes, so if you get stuck on that, find the verbs and the subjects first, because they all have that pair in there. Okay, done with that. Alrighty, you guys worked on, oh, the coconut crabs. Okay, so I have to say, and I'm gonna talk to the camera too, but, some students accidentally used eat. I don't know if you did, I can't remember, but check your notes from my Google Classroom because we were talking about their diet and it's really hard not to use eat. So check that. If you did, just fix it, send it back in. But I do remember yours. Yours was really good. I liked yours. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. I read it super early this morning, but I can find it. Yeah, I don't see Jana's yet. I did work with Jana on hers though. Um, oh yeah, so I put a couple notes on there. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No.
Okay, let me just look at it. So I remember what I said. I think you might have accidentally used eat. Oh yeah, you did. Oopsie. Oh, and then there's just one part. So two very minor things. I really like it overall. Eat. And then you said they are also known, like you started two sentences the same way, right after each other. Yeah. So just try to think of another way to start it. So other than that, it was great. I really liked how you used your other dress ups. I like that word snatch. I thought that was really descriptive. And then vicious, another really good adjective there. So nice job. I really like it. So we are going to move on though from there. And you can put away your stuff for coconut crabs. The yellow page is going to go in the model charts and outlines tab. And then everything else goes wherever your finished stuff goes. And we are going to learn about troglobites. Have you heard of those before?
I don't think so.
Interesting creatures. So it's week 14. So you get out week 14. It's a lot of papers. Tell you how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, actually, all the way to the checklist. And then you will need, if you have any more of the white paper at the back, you'll need one of those too. Some from home here. So we're still summarizing multiple references. And Gina, come on in. It's in time. We're just starting our binders. So you can, I'm recording for Lily, so you can watch the grammar part later. And we just got out week 14. We can go ahead and start folding this. This is gonna be the, what I call the taco fold first. And I know we got to work on the coconut crab, but you forgot to turn it in. So whenever you get a chance, maybe after class. And then in thirds after that, so past the halfway point. So remember, this is your first fold. That, and then you're gonna fold it in thirds like that, so you end up with a square. Troglobites. Have you guys heard of those before? So we don't have them in Tehachapi because they live in really wet climates. So they're a creature and they're a species. There's different ones. Go past that middle part a little bit. So that it's like a square. Yeah, there you go. Yes. Good. I think there's a picture of one on here somewhere. Oh yeah. You kind of go back to, they almost look like snakes. But they have teeny tiny feet and legs. Really tiny. I think you're gonna be interested in learning about them because they're kind of cool and creepy. Not that you're creepy or anything, but I think sometimes you like those kind of things, it seems like. Yeah, so it's gonna be week 14. Oh yeah. We'll give you a second to get situated. But kind of like a cross between a snake and a lizard, I guess. More like a water snake or lizard.
They look like very long axolotls.
Oh yeah. Or like salamanders maybe, but really short legs. I don't think they really use the legs. It's weird. It's like, I don't know why they're there, but
They don't reuse their
I
legs.
don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, I'm learning about some interesting creatures. I mean, the coconut crab's crazy big. They are cave dwelling. That's where they live, where it's wet and dark. And then you can go ahead and get out the next one. Yeah, troglobites. It's gonna be six, like I said, 6 pages. Okay, so let's get your outline set up first, because that's where we're gonna start. This is ultimately gonna be 3 paragraphs, but we're just gonna start with the first one this week, and then we'll do the other 2 next week. So go ahead and put A. I think it's just 3 articles. Let me double check. Yeah, it's just A, B, and C. Yep. And C, and then it's gonna be Roman numeral 1. And then it's gonna be 1 through 5. And 4 and 5 are gonna be in parentheses again, just kind of like how we did for coconut crabs. And here, fused is gonna be 1 through 7. So fused goes in the middle at the bottom. And number 7, I think is in parentheses. Let me double check. Yes, it is. 7 is optional, and then clincher. Okay, so we're setting up this. You need to pause it there, you can. And then on the under C, we're gonna put possible topics. I think last week, did we talk about skimming? We did do that, huh?
Yeah.
With coconut crabs. Okay, cool. So, just to review, we're summarizing multiple references, which means we're telling some information about multiple articles, A, B, and C. And that's the first step, is knowing what your subject of your paper is. The subject of your paper is troglobites. And then your topics, we have to figure out what those are. But that's the next step, is figuring out what the topics are, and then we're gonna list them here. Remember how we labeled each paragraph? We're gonna do that again. So let's go to the first one, which is on page 129. It already says source text A at the top, but I like to put an A with a box at the top, and that way it matches your outline. Super organized. Good, okay. And then to skim, we're just gonna read the first sentence, and then we're gonna look at keywords, kind of let your eyes wander through the paragraph a little bit and pick out some keywords. So, get my notes here. Okay. Let's just look at the first one, the first paragraph. I'll do that one and then you guys can take turns. So the first sentence just says, animals that have completely adapted to life in unending subterranean darkness are known as troglobites. So I'm going to kind of skim from there. I see being born, remain, exist, cave. I see characteristics, survival, blackness, underdeveloped eyes, skin pigment, sickly pinkish color, bats, plants. Okay, so this is kind of more general info about troglobites because it's not talking about a specific one yet. But I would call this general. Does that make sense? So it's kind of an overview about troglobites. So on the margin there on the side, go ahead and write that word general. General. And we can put that here on our list. Here. That's one of those weird words, the G. General. So it's basically like an overview of what these animals are. And then you can list it on your possible topics too. Here, and we'll just put an A next to it. Go ahead and put an A there next to that one. There you go. Okay. How about Arabella? Do you want to do the next one? Just read the first sentence and then kind of pick out some words in there.
One fish that adapts to a
Troglobite.
troglodyte life
Mhm.
is the waterfall climbing cave fish. Found in 8 caves, Thailand. No eyes, colorless. Water breathing fish.
Good. So this whole paragraph is talking about that specific one. Water climbing cave fish. It's a long title. So I would put, you could circle that in the paragraph where it says, it's waterfall. I said water climbing. It's waterfall climbing cave fish. Circle that and we'll call it WCCF. So you don't have to write that whole thing on the side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So circle it right here, water climbing cave, waterfall climbing cave fish. Circle that part. And then right in the margin, WCCF. That way we can remember what that one is. And then go ahead and put that on your WCCF here. And an A. And then turn that over, and then you can do the next one. Jana?
Another strange creature that has developed ways to live happily ever after in his cave is the Olm.
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 Weird, huh?
Yeah.
Olm.
5 countries,
Mhm.
Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Eyeless.
Mm-hmm.
100%
Troglobotic.
Botic.
Troglobitic.
troglobitic.
I think that it's going to talk about that one.
Yeah.
Olm. That's the name of it. Olm. So just put OLM on the side here. Or oh, I like how you put S on it. Olms. Either way. And then back to you for the next paragraph. Arabella.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Feeding mainly on bats. Cave-dwelling rat snakes are found deep in caves in Thailand and
Peninsular.
peninsular
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
Caves. Top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
Reptiles.
Mm-hmm.
Dangle.
Ooh. Yeah, that's what they're called, cave dwelling rat snakes. So I would circle that. We'll initial that one again because that's a long name. Cave CDRS. CDRS. Cave dwelling rat snakes. Okay. Dangling. I didn't like that word. All right, that's the last paragraph on that one. So we've got CDRS was that one. Okay, so far we have 4 topics. And now when we go on, we're gonna kind of look to see if we can find similar topics in this one too, because they're gonna match some of them. So Jana, how about the first paragraph and put a B at the top of this one with a box? This is page 131 called Cave Dwellers. We'll put a B with a box and then whenever you're ready for that first sentence.
A troglodyte is an animal that spends its entire life in one particular cave.
Mm.
Dark, developed, it survive.
When you think you know what it's about, you can stop reading the keywords and let me know.
Weak intensity. Sharp sense, finding food, blackness eye, survive longer.
What do you think? It's kind of like general again. That's what I'm thinking, general. We'll just put comma B. We're keeping track of our topics here on this page. Now we're back to general has A and B so far. And then next one, Arabella.
Peculiar pink olms are cave salamanders.
Salamanders, okay.
Completely aquatic. Underwater. 8 to 12 inches. 5 ounces.
Yeah, so it's talking about that one, Olms. Okay. That one we can call Olm or Olms with an S, either way. Yeah, so some of them now you can probably tell by the first sentence. Back.
The waterfall climbing cave fish.
Yeah, it's like we already know. WCCF. And B and B also. Go ahead and do the next one, Arabella.
The cave is pitch black.
It doesn't tell us much yet.
Night vision goggles. Snake dangling off its tail. Cave ceiling. Darts and snags a bat.
I do see it though. Cave dwelling rat snake. Yep, okay. I'm gonna circle that and then that one's gonna be CDRS. Oh, so far they both have all the topics, all the same topics. Okay, going on to C. C at the top, yep, with a box around it. That's gonna be page 131. right? Oh, sorry, 133, yeah. Your notes in my book. Go ahead, Jana, when you're ready for the first one there.
Markedly act, wait,
Adaptive,
adaptive troglodytes have morphed so that they can live in deep, dark caves. Lose abilities. Eyesight not helpful. Attractive color not benefit. Feel, feelers or fins.
what do you think this one is?
Like general.
I think so too, it's general again, yeah, because it doesn't name any until later, but I think it's just talking generically about it, so general. See.
I'm gonna see what the next one's
Uh-huh,
gonna be.
what do you think the next one's gonna be?
Cave
Arabella?
dwelling rat.
Yeah, cave dwelling rat snake. CDRS. That's on page 133. We're looking at the paragraph that starts with, oh, it starts with the cave is pitch. Just kidding. It starts with a cave dwelling rat snake. I'm trying to tell them because they can't see what I'm doing right now. Okay, next on page 134. Back to Gina.
I think it's gonna be about the waterfall climbing.
Waterfall climbing cave fish. Let's just mark it. It's pretty easily laid out for us. WCCF. And the last one, we probably could figure out that one too. Ohms, yep, I see it in there too. Okay. All right. Spread out on all three articles.
Yeah.
So, your paper ultimately will be 3 paragraphs long, so you will write about 3 of these things. But since it's kind of a new topic for us, I feel like we should all start with general to introduce what troglodytes are. And then we can go into 2 of them, like decide which 2 you want to write about. So I would say, let's choose general as our first one for this week. So we're gonna put, next to Roman numeral 1, put troglodytes. You're gonna learn how to spell that one. Troglodytes, comma. And we're gonna write the word general, but you're probably not gonna use that word in the sentence, because that's a weird word to use in the sentence. But just to help you to keep track of what you're gonna look for in your paragraphs. And do that for A, but B and C, you could put T general.
Okay.
Yeah, then you don't have to write it out each time. And then for fused, let's do, instead of general, let's just put troglodytes. And then we'll do 2 commas after that, or 2 blanks, like that. That way, as we're reading, we can come up with maybe 2 words that we can kind of generalize them as. So at the top, we have under A, we have Roman numeral 1, troglodytes, comma, general. Under B, Roman numeral 1, we have T general, and then C under Roman numeral 1 is T general, and then fused says troglodytes, comma, blank, comma, blank. And we got it all set up now. So we know we're going to do general information. So going back to A, this is how we do this. This is the steps in writing a research paper or summarizing. A, general, is that first paragraph. So now we're going to read it. That way we can look for interesting or important or relevant information that we need. And you only have to have 3 facts, but you can have 4 or 5 if you find them in there. So I'll go ahead and read it. You guys can focus on, and by the way, you can either underline the whole sentence or you can just underline the keywords of the fact, if that helps, and then we'll start putting that down. Animals that have completely adapted to life in unending subterranean darkness are known as troglobites. Being born, living, and dying in a single cave, troglobites must remain there to exist. They cannot survive outside their cave. Typically, these odd creatures exhibit characteristics that aid their survival. Because troglobites dwell in total blackness, they have underdeveloped eyes or no eyes at all. Many cave dwellers lack skin pigment since they do not need protection from the sun, which results in their bodies whitish or sickly pinkish color. With little to eat except bats, plants that wash in from outside, bacteria, fungi, small insects, or visiting animals' droppings. Most troglobites are small and have a slow metabolism. In 2015, biologists stated that over 7,000 species of troglobites have developed. Indeed, this number is not too close to the maximum because troglobites might exist in caves that have not been even been found yet. Interesting. I wonder how they found them in the first place. I'm thinking about this cave that's pitch black. I guess they have a light. Maybe they're like scuba divers and they go in there and they must have a big light, but yeah, interesting, huh? So they don't see the sun at all. They just stay, you can't have these as pets.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to look at them. Interesting. Okay. So I know you were underlining and you were just going right to the putting it in here, which is fine, but go ahead and we'll give you a minute to pick out some facts that you thought were interesting in there, and maybe let's see what you have. What do you have for your 1 through 5?
Lauren, loving, dying, and I put an arrow in single case.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Bad / no eyes.
Okay.
No skin. That's just skin color.
Okay.
Eat bat / plant.
Okay. So with that arrow, that just is reminding you to, if you use that one, you want to put those together. So when you go to do your fuse later. So far, do you see any words you could use, like to introduce them in the fused? Like what 2 words would you maybe use? Could you use some adjectives to describe them?
I was thinking about doing their appearance first and then the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like this first sentence though, like here, maybe we could think of like 2 words to kind of just be your introduction sentence. Like, I guess either like darkness or blackness. Like what they are, like how would you describe what they are? I don't know, maybe we don't know yet because it didn't really give us much. Let's wait on that. You might think of something else, or you can leave what you have. What do you have so far?
Troglodytes and slimy.
And slimy, yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So B, we're on B next. And so if you want to try it like how Arabella did it, I don't know if it helps you to underline it, or you can just write it down like she did, either way. So B, is it the first paragraph again? I think it is, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing. I'll just read it to you guys and you can focus on finding facts. A troglobite is an animal that spends its entire life in one particular cave. Dwelling permanently in the dark, troglobites have developed special adaptations to help them stay alive. Organs and abilities. Oh, by the way, try to pick different facts than the first one. Yeah. Organs and abilities that contribute to survival have gotten stronger. Organs and abilities that are not necessarily have weakened. In nature, this strengthening and weakening tendency is called natural selection. Since very little food is available, troglobites' sharp senses, which include smell, taste, and vibration detection, are relentlessly aimed at finding food. I'm going to pause there just for a second because that vibration, because it's pitch black, they don't have eyes really, so they have to feel it. So a vibration could be like a ripple in the water, or maybe a bug that came in somehow, flapping its wings, and it can feel that vibration. Many have poor or no eyesight. In complete blackness, eyes are useless. Because eyes require energy, an eyeless cave creature can survive longer on less food than a creature with eyes. Most troglobites are white to pinkish in color, not needing protection from sunlight or camouflage against predators. Life in dark places makes cave animals quite odd. You might want to use like cave dwelling at that fused one for your number one, Roman numeral one, but you can think about it when you get done with all of them. But that might be a good way to introduce what they are. Cave dwellers, maybe. What did you get for yours, Julia?
Ability, survival, good senses / vibration detection, no eyes makes them strong. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that means.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you might have to explain that because if I think it said because they require less or they use less energy, I think is what it said.
A lot of it was just like repeating.
Yeah, yeah. They can live longer, survive longer on less food. I didn't think of eyes as requiring like energy, but I guess it makes sense because we're always using them. As long as we're awake, we're using our eyes, and I guess it triggers our brains, and so I guess that does make sense. But and you got some on yours? Okay, good. Did you like just going right to writing it, or do you like underlining it? Because you can do either way. Okay. So, because you might need to look back later, so if it helps you underline it, go for that. Okay. I think it's the first paragraph again, huh? Okay. Same thing. We're on C now, Article C, page 133. Remarkably adaptive. So you're looking for different things if you find anything different in here. Troglobites have morphed so they can live in deep, dark caves. Troglobites are losers. They lose abilities. This is fine with them, since eyesight is not helpful to them. For example, many troglobites are blind. And if you need to combine facts from different sentences, that's okay if you use more than one sentence. Because of blindness, attractive coloration does not benefit cave animals' courtship. That means like when they're trying to flirt with the girls. If the boy troglobites are flirting with the girl troglobites, they can't basically because they can't see each other. And it says that they cannot see each other. What troglodytes have lost, however, they make up for with adaptations such as feelers or fins, longer antenna or legs, or vibration detection. Enabling them to live without much food, the unusual organs and abilities of troglodytes probably have changed over thousands of generations. This process is known as natural selection. Animals that are currently known to be troglodytic include cave fish, cave crayfish and shrimp, various other cave crustaceans, one reptile, some cave salamanders, and insects. So those are creatures that live. Are there other troglobite creatures, is what it's saying. I didn't know that. So shrimp is considered a troglobite. Cave crustaceans. We know crustaceans from coconut crabs, but I don't think those were. They were out roaming around climbing trees and killing cats and dogs. So those guys were crazy. So one thing to keep in mind, and I know that you went to only 3 on some of them, which is totally fine because you only are required to do 3. If you get to the point you're doing your fused and you're like, man, I really want to get something else, you can always go back and add to it, to whatever it is from like A, B, or C. But now at this point, we're going to start working on the fused outline. So, thinking of a couple words to kind of introduce what troglobites are. I know you said slimy. Did you think of a different one too? Oh, bless you.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Blind.
Blind, slimy and blind. Okay. You could use the word creatures too, if you like that.
I just
Cave dwelling. Okay, that's good too. So now as you're going through picking your favorites from up above here, make sure you group them together. I think we talked about this the other day. Make sure you group together similar information so it's not like too choppy. So as you're looking back on your, I'm going to give you guys just a few minutes to look at your A, B, and C and pick the ones you want to move, copy down to the fused outline. But like if you focus on their lack of vision and you want to do a couple things that talk about their eyes, put those together, like 1 and 2. And then like if you talk about what they eat, did they talk about that? I guess they didn't really say that.
Except for bats.
I don't think we got to that part yet though, did we? I don't
No,
know.
we didn't. I don't think.
Later, I think we'll do that later. Yeah, okay. Talks about their bodies and stuff like that. So try to keep like similar facts together. So go ahead and start working on that. The fused. What you got there? There's nothing of like one, or is that a symbol?
That's T.
Oh, for
Oh,
troglodyte?
yeah.
Okay. And then morphed, live, cave. What fact was that one? Do you remember what that
I
one was?
think it was C.
Oh, okay. So if you need to go back and reread that, you can, if that helps, you might go, why did I put morphed? And then you can check that. That's good though. I like that. And then while you're writing, keep going, Jana. But so just to remind you, Arabella, because I know this is kind of new to you still, but so the first step in writing a report like this is knowing your subject, which is troglodytes, then finding those possible topics, which we did, and then choosing one, and then writing your ABC outlines, that's your keyword outlines, and then you're fused, and now you're ready to write your paragraph. So those are the steps, and this is cool about this because you can use these steps, this style of writing for any paper that you do. So you don't have to use like a big white sheet of paper. It's nice to have lots of room, but if you had to use lined paper, you could still make that work. But just for future, when you're doing like the next year or next couple of years, that's how you gather all that information. It's so much easier because I remember my teacher would want me to write a report about like Abraham Lincoln, and I would be like, okay, cool, but where do I start and what do I write? So this kind of helps you go, okay, let me find the topics. Okay, his early life and maybe his accomplishments, and you start finding those topics, and then you just pick out keywords. It's like doable, you know what I mean? So I want to make sure to explain that to you and Lily too, because I know this is kind of new for you guys to do this. And before you pack up, we're going to look at the hand page, because I want you to have the tan page out and the checklist. Look at both of those things. Yay, you got that. Yay, perfect. Okay. You have a new thing on your checklist, which is a sentence opener. And we've been doing those in grammar, but now you're going to actually include it in your writing. So I want you to jump down there. It's right under dress ups where it says sentence openers. It says number one of each as possible. So under that, you'll see prepositional, and see how it has the two with a bracket. That's how you label that. You probably remember from last year. So on your keyboard, you've probably used brackets before, but they're right here under the square bracket right there. That's where the brackets are. And you're going to use a number 2 and then start with a prepositional phrase. So I'll just go through the TAM page with you. So the prepositional opener is a prepositional phrase placed at the beginning. So the first word has to be from this list right here. This list is also in your grammar book. There's lots of places for you to find this list, but you can use this. So the examples at the top are despite a lengthy childhood sickness, blah, blah, blah. So that word despite is a preposition. It's on the list down here. So you would just mark it just like they did right there with the 2 in a bracket right before. So you don't have to underline anything. You don't have to highlight anything. Just put it 2. The second example says, in 1901, Teddy Roosevelt became the youngest president in the nation's history. So in is a preposition. So that would work for a prepositional opener with a number 2. And then there's some things to notice here. A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and it contains at least 2 words. A prepositional phrase ends with a noun. We already know that from grammar. The phrase never contains a verb. The sentence will have a verb, but not the initial phrase. And there might be other words between the preposition and the noun, but there's never a verb in a prepositional phrase. To indicate that a sentence begins with a prepositional opener, label it with a 2. And it says in the left margin, but you're going to do the second example that says right before the sentence. So just put it right before. And then there's a comma rule here. if the prepositional phrase has 5 or more words, that's the rule. Then you need to follow it with a comma. A comma is optional, but usually not recommended for shorter phrases or with shorter phrases. So there's your list, and you just need one in your paragraph because you're just starting with the first paragraph this week. So as you're looking at your fused outline, you can think ahead. That's something we practiced, looking ahead at your fused outline to see where you can put your other dress ups too, or a prepositional opener. Dress ups are all the same. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And watch out for banned words. And you still need topic clincher, okay? So all that stuff is still on there. Okay, you guys have any questions about homework? No questions? So we're gonna just do paragraph 1 this week, and the next week we'll dive into those last 2 paragraphs, and then your report will be complete. So see you next week. I hope you feel better, Lily.